Hello. Welcome. You have joined the Mr. Warren Hayes Show on Monday night. Monday Night Warren. Raw is Warren. Hello. It is another week. It is a brand new week. Kicking off. Got all sorts of new things happening. It's Monday, and I am stoked. I don't know why. Couldn't tell you why, but hot damn, we are into it. How's everybody doing? Hope you had a lovely weekend. Hope you enjoyed. Hope you were able to. Like enjoy your weekend and extract the most you could out of your Monday. Because I know Mondays, the general consensus is that they're tough. We've been through this discussion before. I believe Tuesday is the worst day of the week. And for those of you who are new initiates here, you know, if you are new to my philosophies of life, this, you know, Monday, everyone is already minded to go through Monday, right? So you come back off of the weekend and you just want your Monday to go well, so you hunker down, you know, and you push through it, and you're giving it all you got, right? You just do whatever you can. Then Wednesday, you know, Wednesday's the middle of the week, and already when you hit the middle of the week, hump day, as you know, it is colloquially known as, once you get to the hump, then you're like, oh, well, you know, now it's just downhill from here. Now it's just like smooth sailing. Thursday, you know, it's starting to feel like the weekend. You're starting to feel like the end of the week is wrapping up. You know, it's a good happy hour type of day as well. Thursdays, you know, it's one of those where it's just like everything sort of connects, comes together. And then Friday, of course, like Friday is like for 85% of, you know, us working stiffs. Friday is already the weekend. You know, we wake up on Friday morning and we're like, you know, whatever. And then Tuesday, the problem that we have with Tuesday is that we're so drained out of all of the energy we put in just to go through Monday that we are just drained and we're done. There's nothing to look forward to. Tuesday is the worst day of the week. And that's a Warrenism you can take to the bank. I don't know which banks accept Warrenisms, but here we are. Obscurity Knox, thank you so much for the lovely super chat. I appreciate it. Don't think I haven't noticed how lovely it is. Warren, today is Tuesday. No, it's not. You know why I know it's not? Because I'm not down in the dumps. I mean it though. Like I have been studying days of the week for years. I've done the research. You can do the research yourself. Tuesdays are the roughest day of the week. But no, listen. It's a tremendous start to the week. I don't know why. I feel good. It's feeling good. I had a good day. Today was my first day back to work after vacation. The Christmas break, essentially, which I always extend as much as I can. And it was particularly soothing and calm. Like, you know, sometimes how you finish like a vacation, you're like, man, I need a vacation to get, you know, to rest up from my vacation. You know, this past week, last week, I just like, it was so just relaxing, and I centered myself. It was very, very meditative. I did meditation. I've been doing meditation with these new apps. I think it's a new thing. At least it's new to me. Let's put it that way. Because I never heard of this before. But it's one of these apps that flashes lights. You're supposed to close your eyes, right? And then you sort of, keep your phone anyway, you sort of angle yourself so that you can still see your phone, and it flashes lights as you're closing your eyes. So it helps you achieve various states of consciousness and whatnot. And, it's very interesting. I don't know. I've taken a liking to it, and it's helping me zen out a lot more. What's the word? Illuminate, I think it's called. It's Luminate, like Lumenate. Luminate. And apparently it's supposed to simulate being on psychoactive drugs type of thing. Now, not to get into Warren Hayes' sordid past, but I have done, my fair share of magical fungi, and we're not quite there. Yeah, it's not quite there yet. I don't know if it's supposed to be closer to LSD. I don't know, but didn't exactly equate to the mushroom trips I was once privy to a while back when I was very wild, would be chasing down secret raves and whatnot. So there you go. This weekend, my youngest son turned 18. I officially no longer have minors in my home. Don't. So my youngest turned 18. It could have been so simple, Warren. My youngest turned 18 this weekend. I am officially an old man, and for dinner on Saturday to celebrate his birthday, we went. When I say we, I and his older brother, my oldest, came down to visit us from Montreal. And we went out to an excellent sushi restaurant in town. Sat at the counter, had the chef literally, the chef was right in front of us, just preparing everything, calling the shots, right? Super busy. Saturday night, we went in at 7, and later on when things started to cool down, slow down, I should say, and we started chatting. He told us it's from 5 p.m. on, moving forward, we were just nonstop busy, just nonstop busy, and he was working really, really hard, and we had such a delicious meal. Sincerely, some of the most sumptuous, melt in your mouth sushi I've ever had. Just phenomenal, with some really, really interesting taste profiles too. Some stuff that was really, really good. He had one that with a vinaigrette that was based off of kimchi, and you don't really get that kind of flavor profile usually when you're ordering sushi, right? So it was vinegary and spicy, and I was like, oh my god, this rules so fucking much. And I'm salivating thinking about it, I'm a barbarian or whatever. And at the end, he's when most people are gone, it's probably 9 o'clock by that point. We were really taking our time and eating and enjoying ourselves. 8, 9. It was 9, 9:15, something like that. Who cares? There's a lot less customers around. He's chill. We're talking. We're enjoying ourselves. He's talking to my sons, and And of course, like he had heard that it was my youngest birthday. And he says, you know what I'm going to do for your birthday? I'm going to give you an extra special nigri. You've had all sorts of rolls tonight, but you didn't have any nigri. So I'm going to make you an extra special nigri. And if you've popped onto the Blue Sky recently, you have seen on my account, of course, you've seen this video, right? Because he pops out like a big ass chunk of bluefin tuna, right? And a big ass chunk. And he tells us, he says, yeah, I've been aged. This is I think he said 2-week-old tuna. Like I've been aging it. It's 2 weeks now. It's been aging for 2 weeks. Like, holy shit. And he starts slicing into it, and brothers, sisters, everyone else. I swear to God, it was the most beautiful slice of tuna I had seen with my bare eyes, in all of my life. It was gorgeous, and the way he just sliced through it. Anyway, I recorded him doing that, and then he sliced up the tuna so that he'd make 3 rather large, like little baby arm nigri. That's how big it was. And he fixes it up. And he said, I'm going to give you just a small ball of rice. And he wasn't kidding. It was like, what? Whereas the nigri was about this long. And I swear it was so fucking good. He torched it just to sear it a bit. And then put some caviar. He had some dry roe, and he was grating that on top. It's just like, oh my God, just for us. And it was on the house. And he said, look, I do these smaller, like regular size with the bluefin, these nigri, regular size, because this is extra size. And I sell them like $12. So enjoy. I mean, it was, just pop that sucker all the way into my mouth, and it was so good. It was so good. It really was a lovely birthday. My son was super happy. It was tremendous. I had such a good time. So I'm coming back today on a Monday, feeling absolutely rejuvenated, refreshed. I'm into it. I'm into everything. I'm into it all. And then, well, I start reading about pro wrestling stuff, and then I get depressed. No, that's a joke. We do have a busy stream tonight. It's not that this has been a particularly busy week or few days like of wrestling news, but there's a lot of little morsels of interesting to very interesting things. So wait till you see the docket, okay? We've got ourselves a proper docket set up with a lot of stuff to go over. But first, Meggie, how you doing, buddy? Member of the Mr. Warren Hayes Show channel. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Shiny, Happy, Sad Bastard should be the name of the song, or A Cloudy Day in Los Angeles. I like them both. I like them both. AW1, nice to see you as well. Hey, both of these people, right, are members of the Mr. Warren Hayes Show channel. It's very nice to see you, AW1. Obscurity Knox, you've already, set the bar tonight. So it's very nice to see you. And welcome, Carlos. Sports and Things shows. Happy Monday to you as well. Anakin JMT is here. Welcome and cheers. Member of the Discord on top of that. Member of the Mr. Warren Hayes Show on top of that. Mod over on the Discord. Yeah, about that. Look, maybe I should put the mix out there. If it's so good for reading, maybe that's what I should do. Will there ever be a Mr. Warren Hayes Show soundtrack on Spotify? Maybe I should do that. The thing is, the one thing is that legitimately, like the Mr. Warren Hayes Show theme song is not on Spotify because it's mine. Because it's mine. I could probably put the soundtrack together of everything else that plays as I'm, ceaselessly talking here. I probably could. I say Thursday is the worst because you're so close to the weekend, but it isn't the weekend yet. Yeah, but you can taste it though. And then it's like going home on a Thursday night. It's so nice because you know, like the weekend is just like right there. Just like right there. Tuesday's the Dominic Mysterio of weekdays. Does that mean that it's ESPN's #1 day of the week? See what I did there? I work four 10-hour shifts, so Tuesday is a second Friday for me. Oh, that's nice. Look at you. Aren't you special? It shows that Mr. Warren Hayes has been doing meditation. He's too calm like a Hindu calf. I mean, yes, I mean, Hindu bovine are indeed particularly calm. Hold on here. Oh, there we go. I know it was a weird way to describe my child getting old. I don't know. You know, it's the kind of thing that, you know, it just pops into your head and it's like, fine. But then you start, when it comes out of your mouth, you're like, no. No. Oh, anyway, yeah, we've got busy stuff to do. We're busy bumblebees here tonight. I'm in a good mood. It's not that I'm not usually in a good mood. I'm in a particularly good mood tonight. So tonight's the night you should ask me. You should ask me for favors and money. That's what I tell my children. You know, so just wait till I'm in a really good mood. Then that's when you ask me for money. Then I'll say yes. In any other circumstance, I'll be like, what do you need it for? Are you sure? I don't know. I'll give you a hard time. But when I'm in a particularly good mood, there you go. Kristen knows anyway. She's not here right now, but she knows. Wait till I'm in a good mood. That's the secret. So very quick little set of housekeeping before we truly get to the nitty gritty of things. Leave a like on this video if you have not already. I would appreciate that. That always helps grow the channel, etc., etc. You've been on YouTube enough to know how these things work, and it's neat. It's a nice little neat thing you can do. You can also follow the Mr. Warren Hayes Show on Spotify, on Apple Music, and most of your podcast destinations. So be sure to do that as well. The Mr. Warren Hayes Show Discord is also a place you can come hang out in. Like-minded people, a nice community. No one going around calling each other fatherless around there, except for that one time. The link is in the description. And when I say sometimes when I talk about the Discord, it's like, yeah, we like to talk about pro wrestling there and so on. And but there's also other topics, also a lot of other things that get talked about and grab people's attention. Let me tell you, the gamers on the Discord these days, they're taking over. We started a video game critic league, draft league, fantasy league. That's what we've done. We've done a video game critic fantasy league. I'm even taking part in it, and everyone's going to have a good time. The draft is done, so you're too late. You can't sign up anymore. But you can still join the Mr. Warren Hayes Show Discord and join into the conversations and whatnot. Look, you like video games? There's a lot of people who talk about video games. You talk about professional wrestling? Well, guess what, Jack? There's a lot of people talking about a lot of professional wrestling because there's a lot of stuff happening. So there you go. And so that's it. I mean, that's what I'm plugging this time around when it comes to the housekeeping segment of this opening stream. Of course, we will be back on Thursday with the Dynamite review. a Dynamite review, which I believe I'm going to be recording on the Wednesday. I think I'll be recording it as a, I guess as a post show, as opposed to what I like to do, you know, in regards to, you know, I like to do it the next day type of thing. So I think that's what I might do. Cause again, work stuff, busy guy, work might be getting into the way of doing it on the Thursday like I usually do. So I'm hoping that today, not I'm hoping, but I'm feeling that I'll probably record it on Wednesday, which means that members of the Mr. Warren Hayes Show channel will be getting the Dynamite review way before everyone else does. Like I'm talking, you know, a full like 16 hours before everyone else. So become a member of the channel. Join the channel if you're up to it. Shows a little support. You get early access to stuff such as this week's Dynamite review. Then we'll be back on Thursday with the Dynamite review, not with another stream proper. Oh, and the Mr. Warren Hayes Show on Wednesday. So it's the usual stuff outside of all that we're doing here tonight. So there you go. That's what we're up to. This is what we're doing. I think we're ready to get to it. Ready to go to the big board. Silver Apocalypse, nice to see you. And welcome. It is nice to see you as well. So what dance is the news doing? Well, okay. Waltz, two-step, tango, Roomba, or tape dancing? Just two-step. I mean, you know, this is powered by a white man who can't dance. So, of course, we're doing two-step. I'm not going to pretend. I tried to learn tango years ago. Why did you want to learn tango years ago? Well, to impress a girl, of course. And that's when I realized that that's not when I realized that I couldn't dance. That's another story for another time. I may have already told that story like years ago. I think I may have. Anyway, we'll tell that story again sometime. Because I want to get to stuff. The dancing story is the day I found out I couldn't dance is a pretty good and sad story. You know, that I tell with a certain amount, even to this day. I'm thinking about it again and I'm still like, Anyway, I won't overhype it because then you'll think it's like this awesome, incredible story, but it's more like a story of, you know, it's more a story of sadness and regret. That's all there is to it. So we'll tell that one we'll recount that one another time. I dodged internet fame as a webcomic critic, a video game critic, and all-around weirdo. Weirdo meaning baseball commentary guy. Are you sure you dodged all of those? Boris, nice to see you. Welcome to the chat, and nice to see you as well, Louis. Rated R Louis. Good to see you. Welcome. All right. You know what time it is. We can't start the week proper. We can't start the show proper without a visit from our old pal, Jacques Moliere.
How you doing, everybody? I'm Jacques Moliere. Just let me tell you a little bit about myself. I'm a nunchuck master, and I represent NWA, Mountain State Wrestling.
Hoo-yah! Patrick, nice to see you, man. Welcome, member of the Mr. Warren Hayes Show channel. Always lurking around until it's time for the hoo-yah. You cannot hold back. D. Owens, nice to see you too. Welcome. I heard Jacques learned the art of the nunchucks to impress a girl. Listen, since we're talking about Warren Hayes philosophy tonight, I would say most of the things that men get into, particularly young men, most of the stuff that they get into, like that's performative, that requires putting yourself out there is to impress girls. Most of the shit I got into was to impress girls. You don't learn to tango if it's not for a girl. Oh, maybe it's part of your culture. Okay, fine. All right, fine, never mind. Hey, D. Owens, with the membership tonight. Thank you so much. Hope you appreciate all the early access stuff. It is tremendous. Thank you very much for the support. Very cool of you. He knew he was going to have to fight those Disney World crowds. Well, funny you should mention that. Because your boy Warren decided to do a little digging, decided to do a little research. I sniffed around and I was like, I want to find out if the Molières had a good time at Disney World. I was very, very excited. I was very, very into it. I was excited, searching all over the place. And guess what, folks? I found something. It might not be the panacea that a lot of us were expecting, but nonetheless, ladies and gentlemen, here is the Molière family boarding their plane to Disney World.
Your way to sunny Florida.
There you go. Look at Jacques. Look at Jacques go. He's such a camera hog.
We'll see you at Walt Disney World.
There you go.
We're going to Disney World.
There you go. He's never had that much TV time since he fucked around with Adam Pearce. Isn't that wholesome? Now, here's the caveat, though. Here's something that might just burst your bubble a little bit. It did for me, just a tiny little bit. All right. I was looking around, and then I looked at the date this was published. June 18, 2021. Folks, the Molières going to Disney World happened 5 years ago. In the midst of the pandemic, which is why everyone's wearing a mask. That being said, shout out to Jacques, not being some brain dead pro wrestler, as many of his contemporaries have been. Shout out to Jacques and his entire family masking up in the midst of the pandemic, not going around saying, I did the research and whatever the fuck. All of his family, the little kids, his daughter, his wife, all masked up. You can say what you want about Jacques Molière, but he did not spread. He did not spread the COVID. He did his part. And for that, I think we salute Jacques tonight more than ever, more so than ever. We like to, he's kind of a meme for us, but all I can say is this guy here, he's legit. He's the real deal. Jacques, not a COVID denier. No wonder he could stay in wrestling. Oh, well, he did the right choice. Look at how happy this guy is. Look at him. Hey, how you doing? Fuck off, Adam Pearce. That's what he's saying. So, did you get to go to Disney World for free? Quite frankly, Adam Pearce has probably gone to Disney World for free. Adam Pearce has probably gone to a lot of places for free. Anyway, so I think that sort of wraps up the. I think it sort of wraps up that that little bit of lore about the Molières, because that's it. He's like, it happened. It happened 6 years ago. That whole clip of him winning the winning the trip, it was literally like either pre-pandemic or on the verge of. It was, we were this close, I guess. Good for him. Anyway, they were all there. They were boarding the flight. I hope that they had a lovely time, that it created everlasting memories and bonds. I've never been to Disney World. And am I weird? Maybe some of you will feel the same thing. Am I weird to not have the slightest desire to want to go to Disney World? I feel like I feel like it's a baffling experience. Like everything that I look at and I see from afar, I just feel like it's a completely baffling, overwhelming experience. And that the first time, and it's probably conducive to get you to go back, because it feels like the first time you go, you figure out how the park works, right? So you get, you don't know about, I don't know, express passes or double express passes or whatever, or how hotels work, and how, you're thinking, oh, well, I'll take a hotel, it'll be right next to that. No, but Disney World is fucking huge, So if you take a hotel, you could still be at the ass end of the park, Like I don't feel any appeal. But then again, we have never been a very Disney household. We have never been a true Disney household, I guess, where it's like Disney is very, very ingrained in everything you do. Despite having 2 children, my oldest was, we'd watch Disney movies, but it wasn't like a thing. When he was like 5, 6 years old, I guess, his favorite movie was Cars. He was a 6-year-old boy. Every 6-year-old boy's favorite movie was Cars. He loved Toy Story. Buzz Lightyear was his guy, But those, again, you could argue those are Pixar movies, right? I don't know. Disney wasn't that big a thing. And when he grew out of it, and my youngest never really got into anything Disney. Never really got excited about Disney stuff. It's like, maybe that's also the thing. Maybe I'm just like, I feel no attachment to any of those things. And despite the fact that Disney has since purchased Marvel, purchased Star Wars, I still don't feel, compelled. By the way, I've purchased, I've got so much to say tonight, and we look at all this cool shit we have to talk about tonight. I have purchased the trade paperback for Absolute Wonder Woman. Very excited for that. It looks awesome. Like Wonder Woman is an actual like tall Amazon, who towers over most everyone she encounters. Her nose is flat because of all the fights she's been in and all the times she's been punched in the face. Tremendous stuff. I'm excited. I'm very, 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 very excited. I think that's a common take. Okay. I'll trust you. Sometimes I feel weird about it because everyone is like even one of my best friends took his kids to Disney World last year, and he sort of told, so I asked him, oh, you guys going on vacation? He says, I'm taking the kids to Disney World. He tells me that, and he's sort of looking at me for a reaction. I'm going, oh, that's cool. I'm like, I think he was expecting some kind of big reaction out of me, the way he announced it, the way he told me, And I was like, oh, that's nice. Cool. That'll be fun. It'll be nice. I'm the worst person to talk about these things. It's like everything that's like really like a holiday destination. I'm more like, blech. I don't want to hear about your holiday. I don't want to hear about your sunny, sunshine, heat-filled destinations. You know, Amaya River in Mexico is a, it's a resort town, and it's a big destination for people around here. And keep going. I'm going to Amaya River. Okay. Like everyone goes, you're going to be with a bunch of French Canadians down there too. It kind of stinks. Like, I've got no time for this shit. When I was at Wildwood, from where I live, you go to Wildwood, Maine, right? Isn't Wildwood, Maine? I think so. Went to Wildwood. All right. Everyone does. I'm not impressed. I'm sorry to say, Cuba is another one that was a big destination. Cheap too. Anyway, God, I'm off track tonight. It's it's tremendous. I went once to Disney many years ago. I did not think it was that great. More for kids. Well, I mean, yes, that's, yeah. It is more for kids. I completely agree with you, which makes the Disney adults even stranger, if you to a degree. Oh, no, fuck Disney. Okay, thank you. Theme parks have so many things I don't like. Rides, people, and outdoors. Though I grew up in a Disney family, so I went a lot until I became an adult, and then you don't go anymore. And I mean, here's the thing, and I want to make this very clear. If you go to a Disney resort and you enjoy yourself, you love going there, you have a good, that's not what I'm saying. Go off and enjoy your thing, and all the more power to you. I don't have a problem with anyone who goes to Disney parks and has a great time. I'm just saying, like, I feel strange that I have no desire or attachment or need to go there when it seems like it's like this rite of passage. It gets hammered into your skull when you're a young parent. It's like, are you going to take your kids to Disney World? I don't know. Should I? Do I? Is this required for my citizenship? I don't know. I found Universal to be much, much better. That's what I've heard. I like theme parks. That's the thing. Even though I can't do most rides anymore, I still like theme parks. I like going to the Six Flags one that's in Montreal. I enjoy that one. It's a nice time. I like zoos more. If you want to take WarrenHayes to an outdoor activity, it's like zoos is at the top. It's at the tippy top. I love zoos. I love going to zoos. But it's got to be a good zoo. I'm not going to go to a shitty zoo. You got to go to an ethical zoo. You don't go to the shitty zoos that don't take care of the animals, or that are iffy, or that they're not transparent on how they're acquiring the animals and so on and so forth. Especially go to the zoos that have programs for to return animals to the wilderness, like breeding programs. Those are the kinds of zoos that you throw your support behind. Not the fucking zoos that have, bears in like 10 by 10 environments. And you're like, no, this is the saddest thing I've ever seen. Nah, shitty zoos are the absolute worst. It is a depressing experience to go to a shitty zoo. I haven't been to a shitty zoo in a very, very long time, but it is a sad fucking time. No one enjoys it. You don't see the animals because most of the animals are just like, they're depressed. So they're off in a corner, like sleeping or doing nothing, right? I get there. When I was in Spain a few years ago, I went to the Madrid Zoo, and that was really cool because most of the exhibits are exhibits. Is that what they're called? That's not what they're called. Why did I say exhibits? Or maybe it is exhibits. No, it is exhibits. Yeah. Most of them are open. Of course, not for the predators and carnivorous animals, but they have a lot of open enclosures for the animals. So it's really cool. The animals really like it, and it's in Madrid, so it's always fucking sunny and it's beautiful, and So they're all outside and they're having a nice time. And the wildest thing is that I'm in Madrid and they have this entire section with animals from Canada. So I'm like, oh, and it's it was big enough. It's not like the biggest, but it's big enough. And I'm going around. It's like, oh yeah, moose. All right, sure. Otters, beavers, yawn. But I fly all the way across the Atlantic Ocean into a fucking another country, different language, different culture. I'm walking around the zoo. I'm like, oh, now I see Canadian wildlife. I will say Disneyland Adventure in the Cars world is pretty impressive. A good friend of mine was a performer at the Star Wars Hotel in Orlando. Didn't hear a lot of good things about that hotel in Orlando, but I hope he enjoyed himself and got paid. They got paid well. All right, enough gay banter. Let's get into this. First big news of the night we're going to be talking about. It would appear that WWE is in legal hot water again, this time accused of deceptive marketing along with ESPN in regards to their presence on ESPN. We're going to read this article off the Wrestling Observer Figure 4 online. Josh Nason is going to be the guy, our pal, chum buddy. I got to say, just before we go on, the Observer has become so obnoxious with the ads. Now, I have said it before and I'll say it again. I understand why they do this. Okay? I get it. I understand why they do it because this is really like the only way to get paid and running a website. You need the ads. I understand. But it is really fucking obnoxious. It doesn't take away the fact they get paid, but in the meantime, it's really obnoxious. The rollout of WWE Premium Live events on ESPN's straight-to-consumer streaming platform this past September was not without its critics. A rollout that has now brought about a class action lawsuit. First reported by Post Wrestling and Brandon Thurston on Friday, the lawsuit filed Thursday in Connecticut's U.S. District Court accuses WWE of being deceptive in their marketing of the new union when claiming all ESPN subscribers would have access to WWE PLEs without an additional fee. Only WWE is named in the lawsuit and not ESPN. The reason, Thurston surmised, was that, quote, by only suing WWE, the plaintiffs are trying to avoid the arbitration and class action waiver provisions that they note are in Disney's subscriber agreement. ESPN/Disney has previously stated that they expect to eventually sign deals with all cable streaming adjacent providers that carry ESPN, which would give subscribers access to their new streaming platform at no additional cost. TKO head Mark Shapiro has also stated that is their expectation as well. I can read. As of this writing, that is not the case with several major providers, meaning those subscribers must pay $30 a month for access to the ESPN streaming platform and the WWE PLEs. The plaintiffs are looking to represent any US-based customer who, A, were existing ESPN customers between August 6th, prior to September 20th WrestlePalooza, and B, paid for ESPN's new service in that time frame. Those who are subscribers of DirecTV, Fubo TV, Hulu Plus TV, Spectrum, and Verizon Fios, I don't know how to pronounce that, are ineligible for the lawsuit due to their ability to both authenticate and get access in that time frame. The lawsuit brought about by two consumers claims more than $5 million are at stake, with eligible consumers getting a cut if they win the case. In the suit, it was estimated that WWE content drove roughly 95 to 125,000 signups during the proposed class period. Don't worry, we're going to talk about all of this. The next step is for WWE to respond legally. Thank you for the rundown there, Josh. So, show of hands. Anyone who is surprised by this, raise your hands. No, this was bound to happen. This was 100% bound to happen because we covered this extensively here on the stream, on the podcast. This was covered substantially. The coverage, not the coverage, but the communications that were used to convey what was going on, like what you needed to do as an ESPN, what you had to do with ESPN if you wanted to see WWE was extremely unclear. The language was extremely unclear. Their press release, when they announced the deal, never ever mentioned that it had it wouldn't be available to all cable distributors, I guess is what you'd call them, right? It wouldn't be available to all of these providers, cable providers. That's the word I was looking for. It wouldn't be available to all of them. This is something we found out later when people started digging around and then started asking, the principals in charge when they'd show up in interviews. And well, we heard that, Cox users would not have access to them. No, that is indeed the case. We're trying to finalize a deal and so on and so forth. And you're like, this is nuts. Because they never properly communicated that. And then on top of that, it was extremely confusing when it was time to sign up, which level of subscription you needed to get access to WWE on ESPN. It wasn't just like it wasn't just like hopping in and subscribing and that's it, you're done. No, you had tiers. You've got tiers. And you had to have a proper tier for that to happen. So it was a mess. And anyone who says it's not a mess is wrong or is working for WWE, right? Is part of the legal team. This is it was a fucking mess. And it was only a question of time before someone decided to pull a class action lawsuit like just happened today. Or on Friday anyway, or at least when we found out on Friday. So look, if it's $5 million that is at stake right now, I got to tell you, and I think I think most of you would agree with me. $5,000. It ain't that big a deal for WWE. $5 million. For WWE, not that big a deal. It's not something that's going to break the bank for them. No one's going to get like super duper upset. It's not going to be the end of World Wrestling Entertainment. It's it's going to be more like, oh well, all right, there you go. That's the payday you get today. That's the payday you get, and WWE will 100% settle this out of court. Like, there's no way this is actually going to court, right? But I mean, look, because there's no way that they can say, oh yes, we were 100% honest in this. That we were, honest is the wrong word, transparent. There's no way they can say that, yes, everything was clear from the get-go, because it was not. It really was once everyone started digging. Now, the thing that's really interesting that comes out of this, that raised my eyebrow, and I hope it did to you as well, is the statement in the lawsuit that says, quote, WWE content drove roughly 95 to 125,000 signups during the proposed class period. So during the period, let's not forget, between August 6 and September 20, right? August 6, which was, I guess, the announcement, and September 20, which was WrestlePalooza. WWE signed up 95, or WWE content drove roughly 95 to 125,000 signups. I would love to know where they got this data. I would love to know where the plaintiffs were able to dig up this number. Because if this is anything close to accurate, and I wouldn't, why wouldn't it be? Because why would you lie when filing court papers? It wouldn't make sense. That doesn't make sense. So, but we're gonna just wear our skeptical hats here for a little bit. If WWE drove 95 to 125K subscribers, new subscribers, signups, as they say here, to ESPN in that period, that's not a lot. That has got to be underwhelming and disappointing. It has to be. It has to be. It 100% has to be an unfortunate number. One of the reasons that a lot of us had sort of come to grips with as to why an ESPN would pay so much bonkers amounts of money to secure WWE content for ESPN was to generate new subscriptions on the launch of this new of the new ESPN service, right? The ESPN service has to generate lots of signups from the get-go so that so that it will be successful, so that when you sort of turn the numbers over to the shareholders, they're like, oh, these are excellent numbers. What a success. We are so glad that we invested in this, right? That we're giving you our money so that you can do stuff like this. What a great return on investment. That's what they need to see. Now, ESPN, regardless of WWE, right, I don't think has ever touted the number of subscribers that they've acquired, or the growth, or like the explosive first few days where it's like, we got like 62 trillion people to sign up, like nothing like that. They've been very quiet about it. And I've continued to say that WWE, ESPN has been very, very quiet in regards to how WWE PLEs are performing. Again, if this was something that was generating a lot of views, a lot of interest, a lot of subscribers coming in, they'd be screaming at the top of their lungs. They'd be heralding that at the top of every hillside. Hilltop? At the top of every hilltop? Mountaintop, even? The point being is that they're not saying anything. And if we turn around here and we say, look, WWE content drove 95 to 125K signups for the proposed period. So between the announcement and WrestlePalooza, folks, if this is the case, this has performed on par or worse than AEW pay-per-view numbers, like the worst performing AEW pay-per-view numbers. That means, again, that it's probably not a lot of people who signed up. Probably not a lot of people who were interested enough to get in on the ground floor. And one could assume that as it stands right now, ESPN is not excited with the results. How could anyone be excited with the max being 125,000 subscribers? Who could be excited about that? And again, like, we don't know where these numbers are coming from. We don't know what the source is. But I would have a tendency to think that, again, if you're filing legal papers to come after a company, I would assume that the facts that you're delivering are correct, that you did get this information from firsthand, trustworthy sources. I'm assuming right now. This might come back to bite me in the ass when WWE, files its response and says, these people are completely, these people are completely nuts, and whatnot. It's a very, very interesting, it's a very interesting little statistic there that we're adding in here. Because we don't know what kind of, how they're performing and whatnot, how far, how big of a driver WWE is. And, it's our first look at it. And if it is indeed the case, well, WWE is severely underperforming, I would say. I can't imagine ESPN being happy with the amount of money that they're paying these people annually. Now, WrestleMania's coming up, Royal Rumble, for all intents and purposes, the biggest time of year for WWE is about to happen, right? Like from Royal Rumble right into April. This is the biggest time of year for WWE. So maybe this is what ESPN is counting on, is banking on. Maybe this is what WWE is banking on. It's like, no. Like it's WrestlePalooza. Who gives a shit? WrestleMania's coming up. That's where the big numbers are going to hit. And maybe. But again, we'll see. We'll see what it translates to. Right? Because the other thing you have to remember is, the other thing you have to keep in mind is churn. So how many people are going to subscribe, let's say, to watch WrestleMania, and they'll subscribe for a month, and then they'll hit the bricks. Like they'll subscribe and immediately cancel, instead of sticking around to watch, Payback or whatever it is after. Roadblock, WrestleMania Backlash, whatever the pay-per-view is after, or Money in the Bank, and then a 2-night SummerSlam. Are they doing 2 nights for SummerSlam this year? Who cares? I don't care. So it's like they might get like these huge numbers, but if the people aren't sticking around, great balls of fire, exactly. If no one's sticking around, if no one is staying subscribed, I can't imagine ESPN going, this is tremendous. So listen, interesting number, interesting data here that was provided in the suit. We'll see how this all turns out. I'm fairly confident that this is going to wrap up with a what's the word I'm looking for? With a settlement out of court. I'm fairly confident about that. But we'll see. Very interesting little tidbit there, if you ask me. It will come out in discovery. It legally has to, if it goes to trial. But I don't think WWE doesn't want anything out there. They're going to settle. I wish Thurston would get on those TNA deal numbers. No one's talking. It has been a hermetic ship. No one is talking. There's nothing to go on. There's nothing to go on. I still believe, just because nothing was touted for TNA, I legitimately believe that they have a very underwhelming deal and that it's probably an ad split. That would be my guess. That it's not like a true to form media deal, but more like an ad split. That That would be my theory. But because boy, oh boy, if the number 2 company in the land could come out and talk and tell us how much money they're making, they would. Hey, did you know that there's been a shakeup in WWE creative? What? Yes, there has. Has Paul Levesque finally been demoted? Has he been taken? Have his hands been removed off of the wheel? No. But here we are nonetheless. Mr. Antox, nice to see you and welcome. Again, an article from the Wrestling Observer Online. Dave Meltzer addressed the structure of the team in this week's edition of the Wrestling Observer newsletter, noting that Ryan Ward has received, quote unquote, a little push, while SmackDown co-head writers John Swikata and Brian Road Dog James have received a, quote unquote, little push down. Meltzer wrote this. This is the current breakdown of creative. Paul Levesque drives the show. Bruce Pritchard and Ed Koskey weigh in on creative, but they also handle the company-wide distribution of information. Ryan Ward is in charge of handling all the creative pitches to Levesque. Jonathan Bakestrom and Alexandra Williams are the co-lead writers for Raw. John Swikata and Brian James, Road Dog, are the co-lead writers of SmackDown. Ward has been picking up a lot of the slack on SmackDown. William Regal and Michael Hayes are also involved. Nothing has really changed in the last few months on this, except that there were issues with SmackDown creative that have been said to now be improved, but it was said to be a minimal shakeup, basically a little push up for Ward and a little push down for Swikata and James. Not a push down for the Road Dog, for the roadie. Oh no. Meltzer also noted in the article that one WWE source mentioned it's a shame that Michael Hayes came off so poorly in the WWE Unreal series because when he's on his game, Hayes makes meaningful contributions. All right. Too bad he wasn't on his game when the cameras were rolling. Ain't that weird? I mean, I didn't watch the show, so I don't know what they're referencing. But I mean, when you know the cameras are on, right? I don't know. The creative changes come as WWE SmackDown recently moved back to 3 hours beginning with the January 2 episode. In 2025, SmackDown ran as a 3-hour show from January to July, reverted back to 2 hours from July recently. On a recent episode of the Brian and Vinny Show, our own Brian Alvarez noted that he'd been told the show would likely following a similar format in 2026, with it reverting back to 2 hours this summer. I think it's interesting that there's been this little, this slight demotion, right? Nothing serious, right? Dave is very clear to underscore. It's nothing serious. It's just a wee little push down, just a tiny demotion. Okay. But I think it's funny that it's coming off of a situation where, off of a reality where SmackDown has been underperforming in the ratings, right? Like SmackDown has not been doing well. And look, any great leader like Paul Levesque needs his scapegoats, needs his guys to take the fall. You shields up for Paul, right? Every single time. Because this man here, this is the driving force. This is our head of creative. This is the guy. This is our man here. Yeah, look, I mean, when there's even slight shakeups like this, at least it indicates, it shows that the WWE is aware that things are not good. Things are not, or at the very least, not going great, and that they have to do something to change some things around. Because look, you can't look at the SmackDown numbers that it's been doing and go, hey, this has been great, because it really hasn't. It's really been, it's really been dismal stuff, quite frankly. You can't be happy with that. I'd assume that your partner, USA, from whom you took away their Monday night staple that has been there for decades, I don't think they're necessarily excited that their Friday night thing is underperforming too. It's like, there's a bunch of stuff at play here. Paul can handle it, right? He's the most creative guy, and he's got all the great ideas. Like having people run out in all black with the black hoodie pulled over the face with the mask. Man. Never seen that before. Has never been overused. He's such a creative guy. Well, chat pointed it out, but I did want to say, it's like, how many times does Road Dogg get demoted? How many times is Road Dogg put in control of stuff and stinks the place up? And then it's like, well, got a little demotion here. Just a little less of a push, just a slight less. Not this push this hard. The fuck? And what is this? What is this line? Less of a push. A little push and a little push down. What does that mean? What does that mean? Aren't we adults? Can't we use real terms? Is it a demotion? Because it kind of fucking sounds like a demotion. Not like, oh, a little push. Who are we protecting? I mean, look, I'm not saying that Dave is trying to cover up for people. That's not what I'm saying. It's like whoever his source is saying this. Just a little push down. And that's what Dave is relating. Saying, I was told, little push down, little push. A little push for this guy, and a little push down for these two other guys. Okay, so it's a demotion and a promotion, is what you're saying. And why can't we use these words? Why are we afraid of using these words? None of you are on the record anyway. Whoever Dave is talking to, none of this is on the record, or at least, no, it's on the record. Excuse me. Let me say that again. No one's putting their name on it. It's anonymous reporting. It's on the record, but it's anonymous sources. A little push. Jesus Christ. Who are these children? Who are these fucking children? So, a little tidbit of news as Paul Levesque continues to right the ship, and with his own challenges with his own fan base. Have you noticed, like, all of these new faces? You finally do something with Carmelo Hayes, fan favorite that people have been clamoring for, and it's like, oh, things are not going well. Paul Levesque is being accused of stuff. Suddenly, Carmelo Hayes is being pushed. Interesting. Anyway. Ugh. Forgot to mention, DGMC is a member of the Mr. Warren Hayes Show for 67 months. The streak goes on. Thank you so much for all this time of support. And he says, can't wait for Jericho's return on ESPN The Ocho. But he's the nueve. So you need to keep up. But thank you very much for your membership all this time. Reviews must have been terrible for Road Dogg. The fan base is turning, so the answer to right the ship, give Drew the title. I have yet to see anyone say Drew McIntyre is a bad choice. I have yet to see anyone say that. However, the way that Drew acquired the title, the way Drew got his hands on the title, that leaves to be desired. That's something that you can be a little more, you can gnash your teeth around a little more or point and laugh. Because that was a shitty finish. That was a really shitty finish. It wasn't as bad. It wasn't like an all-time terrible finish, It wasn't like some, but it's a shitty finish. It's a shitty finish in which no one looks good in. Like no one looks good. Everyone looks like fucking idiots. Cody looks like an idiot. Drew looks like an idiot. Jacob Fatu looks like an idiot. Everyone looks like an idiot. I don't know why. Look, but then again, this is the storytelling company, folks. They know how to tell stories. That's their bread and butter. Kristen, nice to see you, darling. Welcome to the chat. Member of the channel as well. Hello, hello, hello. Road Dogg is the star scream of WWE. He's just waiting to backstab Triple H. To protect anyone from an actual pin, they make everyone look like an idiot. Exactly. Like at some point, just have people. Hey, do you think Cody Rhodes' career is going to be derailed here if he loses to Drew McIntyre? If he gets pinned 1, 2, 3, do you think he's done? Do you think he's toast? No, it's fucking Cody Rhodes. And what does this do for Drew? Drew looks like a fucking buffoon here. There's nothing exciting. There's nothing good that comes out of this. I swear to God. And the thing is that we've lost the plot, because then you see people heading to social media saying, finally, Drew deserves it. And it's like, what? Look at how he won the title. There's nothing good about it. Yes, yes, I am one of the proponents, even though I don't even watch the show. I'm one of the proponents of Drew McIntyre getting a world championship run in front of an actual audience. 100% behind that. But the way he got it absolutely stinks. And that means that this is how his run is going to go. Because he's just going to win by shitty means. He's just going to be like, the typical shit heel WWE champion. That's what he's going to be. And it's a typical thing. It's a classic. They stick to it like glue. There's not going to be any, there aren't going to be any great matches. There aren't going to be any definitive wins until he drops it back to Cody, I would say at Elimination Chamber, so that Cody can have the title going into WrestleMania. Or look, this is to add drama leading into WrestleMania. This is what this is for. And I have trouble believing that Drew McIntyre is going to be on a night 2 main event of WrestleMania. Night 1 for the phony world title, yes, that I'd believe. But for the real world title, for the one that WWE actually values, the undisputed title, which again, we need to underscore this every time we mention it, is absolutely disputed, because there is another world championship in the promotion, which automatically makes the other world championship disputed. So you just want to put that out there. Because we know it's the undisputed title that has the true value in the eyes of WWE. I hope everyone recognizes that. Everyone knows that, right? It's Roman's title. It's the title that Roman had, that Cody ran after for months upon months. This is the one. This is the one that Dusty wanted to win, that we're led to believe that this is the one that Dusty wanted to win, right? So, I like Drew and all, but is he that level of superstar? Night 2 main event? That's not happening. And the undisputed title is the Night 2 main event championship belt. Anyway. So much for that. We got more to cover. It amazes me that after Cody, WWE can't make anyone in the chase look good at all. Imagine Hangman Mox in the Triple H world, I should say. Yeah, I agree. Now, Netflix had nice things to say about WWE on its service. Again, another article read off of the Wrestling Observer Figure 4 Online. In a press release issued today being January 12, 2026, Netflix celebrated the viewership WWE brought in during its first year on the platform. January 6 marked the 1-year anniversary of Raw coming to Netflix. The jokes write themselves, folks. Over the first year of the partnership, Netflix claims its subscribers watched 525 million hours of WWE content. Most of that was for Raw, while the remaining portion was taken up by content that is available internationally, but not on Netflix in the United States. Netflix members, this is a quote here from the press release, Netflix members welcomed WWE with a bang, but thankfully no permanent injuries. That's awful. I don't know if there's anyone out there who is looking to work in PR. Okay, here's a little tip of advice for someone who's been in the game for a little bit. Don't do jokes in your press release. Don't do jokes in your press release. It's corny. It's dumb, and serious journalists hate it. Like, this guy here printed it out, copy pasted it directly, but anyone else would have put like ellipses or whatever the fuck. Don't do jokes in your press release. It's corny. In 2025, our members watched 525 million hours of WWE content. Of this total, Raw accounted for nearly 340 million views and 185 million views for premium live events broadcast outside of the US like SmackDown, WrestleMania, Elimination Chamber, Money in the Bank, Night of Champions, and Royal Rumble. Netflix touted that Raw ranked in the top 10 of its category most weeks, with it only falling out outside of the rankings in December when Stranger Things took up much of the top 10. Here's another quote from the press release. Since Raw's official Netflix debut on January 6, 2025, the show has made the global English TV top 10 nearly every week it's been on service, 47 out of a possible 52 weeks. Over 52 shows, Raw has averaged more than 3 million views per week. That can't be right. That can't be right. There's going to be people who are going to work the math on this, and that cannot be right because most weeks it was under 3 million. That can't be right. And it's not just in the US, the birthplace of the WWE. Raw has made the top 10 in 34 countries, including the US. I mean, it's not just in the US. It's not just in the US that WWE has had great numbers. Raw has made the top 10 in 34 countries, including the US. But it's not just in the US, but including the US for 51 weeks, Bolivia for 49, Canada for 48, the UK for 40, and Mexico for 38. The start of 2026 saw the WWE PLE library added to Netflix. Along with that, season 2 of the docuseries WWE Unreal will arrive on the service on January 20. All right. So first and foremost, this is something that we have been saying for a bit. We talk about it often. If the streaming services and WWE are not touting the numbers, then there's, maybe it's under delivering. Maybe it's not as great as everyone says it is, And I would assume, this is just me thinking out loud here. I would assume that with the bad press that WWE has been getting recently, and the overall dissatisfaction of its fans that you're feeling more and more. I don't want to say overall. That's a bad choice of words. But the growing dissatisfaction that WWE fans have been expressing recently, particularly, after a certain man retired from professional wrestling a few Saturday nights ago, I think that some people in WWE called their contacts at Netflix and were like, listen, hey, could you cobble something together? Let's tout some numbers for the year. Let's make a nice little press release and make it sound great. And they were like, yeah, probably, sure, who cares, kind of thing. Because, the Jake Paul fight, right, against the guy who completely destroyed his jaw. I can't remember his name. It's a shame because I should remember his name because he's the man who destroyed Jake Paul's mouth. He should be in the excuse me. Netflix decided, I think the very next day or 2 days later, to put out a press release touting the numbers, touting the viewership. They never did that for Raw. They never did that for any PLE that airs internationally. They never done it because it's not impressive, right? It has to be. And what's interesting too is that the press release doesn't have any signatures. It's not signed off by any executives. It's just like throwing out numbers, but there's no executives that are putting out, I understand most of the time they're just platitudes, right? Where the executive says, we are excited at the announce of these numbers. We are looking forward to strengthening our partnership over the next few months with a dedicated, integrated visual, whatever the fuck. They start using some buzzwords, and they're platitudes, right? They're platitudes. It's not even the executive who's writing out the shit. It's like it's one of the interns who's writing up the stuff, probably off of ChatGPT now. Trust me, I know. Not that I use ChatGPT, but whenever I put out press releases, I never hunt down the president for a quote for my press release. I'll make something up, and then when I send it to him, and he goes, "Good job." There you go. That's all there is to it. I'm not gonna sit him down and say, "Could you come up with a quote for a 25-word quote, sir? Could you make time out of your day, your busy schedule, sir, for this?" So that's one thing. So, I guess WWE, look, it may be a little conspiracy brained, but I feel like this was, they might have pushed this one a little bit. They might have just gone for it a little bit where it's like, hey, let's try and get some numbers out there, right, Netflix, to start the year off the right foot. And Netflix, I guess, was happy to oblige. Now, the numbers sound excellent, right? 525 million hours of WWE content overall, right? Across the globe. That sounds huge when you see it that way. But I don't know. I'm not impressed. Let's look. Let me go. Let's pull up the old Tudum site. Okay. Tudum. Let's pull it up here. Let's just go see in the top 10s here, and we'll do shows English, and we'll do the global. Okay. This is what Stranger Things has done. Okay. In a week. 325 million views in a week is what Stranger Things did. A 1 week of programming. Now I understand. This is the juggernaut, okay? I understand this. It's the biggest fucking series on Netflix. One of the biggest series, on accessible via your television apparatus. Okay? I understand all of that. And Netflix is out there saying, hey, 525 million hours of WWE content have been watched around the world. And I compare that to Stranger Things, and I'm like, I'm not that impressed. I'm not that impressed. Okay, let's look at the you start to look at the bottom here. Like last week, it's a Dave Chappelle special that rounded it out at 3,500,000 hours. It's like, okay. And even Stranger Things, look, even the older seasons of Stranger Things have all been gathering 43 million, 37 million, 62 million. I think it's okay to not be all that impressed. They may sound like big numbers. 525 million is a big number. Don't get me wrong. But it's not blowing my socks off. I'm not sitting here going, wow, what a global phenomenon. Especially when you consider this, that Raw accounted for nearly 340 million views. So Raw includes the US, right? But everything else does not. All of this here. So again, like the majority, the majority, the 340 million views that they get, it's all pretty much in the US regardless. This is when they start talking about WWE being a global brand and whatnot. I'm not seeing it. 185 million views for the year for all the content that is not, that is international, right? That is not available in the United States. They get 185 million. I'm sorry, it's not that impressive. I understand why. Now I understand why they did this. I understand why they did this. The optics and whatnot. And you look at the size of the numbers and you say to yourself, wow, these are really great numbers. What big ass numbers. It's really not all that impressive. It's really not all that impressive. I don't know. Is it just me? I mean, look, we compared with stuff that is actually on Netflix. We're trying to see. I mean, look at this amount. This is in a week. This is in a week. You know what I mean? Just a week. What about, look, and let's take a look, just the United States again for comparison's sake. Oh, we don't get the views here. We only get the views for the global stuff. So So, I mean, look, I think it's great and all that Netflix and that Netflix and WWE finally came together, right? To put out a press release to tout the numbers. I think that's good. I think good partnerships should do that. I think at the very least, it shows that WWE and Netflix are, are tight together. Because, they talk to each other, obviously. And they're like, hey, maybe we could do one of these. Maybe we could put something out like that. And there you go. But I mean, the numbers, when you look at them, they may look super impressive, when you just look at the numbers cold, received just like that off the top of the dome. You're like, wow, okay, these are big numbers. But then, like always, you dig a little bit, you take a look at how things are going on, and you're like, nope, we're going to hit the bricks on this one. These numbers aren't great. There's nothing that knocks my socks off. There's just nothing that knocks my socks off. That's all. No, I don't think they're I don't think the numbers are being inflated. I think they're overall okay. I think the average is a little high, but probably some people will break down the math. I know people who have the math, who follow the numbers much more closely than me and are better than math than I am. But I feel like the average that they said, what was the average? They said 3.3 million a week is what was the average. Average more than 3 million views per week on average. I think that's a little high. I think it's a little high. But again, like there will be people who will hit the circuit. They'll come up with the data and so on and so forth. Yeah, this is all globally. Cesar, nice to see you and welcome. All right. Are you ready for some contract talk? Touch? Not touching any of y'all. Let's do some contract talk. Let's start with New Japan Pro Wrestling. A New Japan Pro Wrestler announces he has resigned with the company. Oh boy. Who could it be? Yeah, exactly. Who could it be? Who could be the professional wrestler who has re-signed with New Japan Pro Wrestling? Oh, it's Shota Umino. The 28-year-old revealed on social media on Friday he has re-signed with the company for 2026. Writing this, I have signed a contract with New Japan Pro Wrestling Co. Limited. It's awesome. He's such a geek. For the 2026 fiscal year, my beloved family is New Japan Pro Wrestling alone. Umino is coming off of a difficult 2025. You don't say. He started the year by losing to Zack Sabre Jr. in an IWGP World Heavyweight title match in the main event of Wrestle Kingdom 20. That was a struggle. In March, he lost to David Finlay in the finals of the New Japan Cup, and in the following month, dropped an IWGP World title match to Hiroki Goto at Windy City Riot in Chicago. He finished second in the B block during the G1 climax, but was eliminated in the first knockout round by Yota Tsuji. And Umino is the son of referee Red Shoes Hiroyuki Umino and started in the company's dojo system in 2017. Blah, 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 blah. There he is. There's the boy. There's the golden boy right there. Shota Umino. He's sticking around. I mean, there's no real surprise there, right? There's no real shock. And the interesting thing is that the interesting thing overall is that Shota, he's basically signed for a year, right? I had heard that a lot of New Japan contracts were all being pared down to year after year, and to 1 year after 1 year, and there's some guys, lower on the card who have, I guess, what, worse contracts. Not necessarily worse, but that aren't signed for an official years. But then again, there were guys in the company that had multi-year contracts, but most of the guys who had multi-year contracts are gone. So you've got instead is Shota Umino touting that I've got an extra year. And I mean, good for him, but that just, to me, it shows that he's still not perceived as a top guy, but has the perception of, nonetheless, we're going to lock him down for a year. We're going to give him a full year, a full-time contract for 1 year. So you can see that nonetheless, he's still very interesting, or interesting in the eyes of the New Japan booking committee. So that's something. Good for him. I mean, I didn't know what else he wanted to do. I don't know. He's kind of, I think he's one of these Japanese wrestlers who wants to come work in the US. I think he's one of those. And I'm just I'm just talking about I'm legitimately just talking about basically just like ditching Japan, coming to work in the US. I think that's what he wants. I'm just talking out of it's just a gut feeling. I don't know if that's exactly the case, but he likes coming to the US. He enjoys being in the United States. He's friends with a lot of the gaijin. He's friends with Will. I don't know how his relationship is with Mox anymore. I couldn't tell you. You'd assume that there's still good feelings, but there you go. So that's one contract tidbit out of the way. There's a report going around that Killer Kelly is reportedly gone from TNA. Fightful Select reported on Saturday that Kelly's contract with the company expired in December and as a result has left the company. They additionally said that there weren't any creative plans for her currently. Kelly's contract has been extended after taking maternity leave in 2024, making her return at against all odds last June. Her last match took place during TNA's recent television tapings in El Paso, where she lost to the likes of Myla Grace and the Inspiration. Since making her return, she has been teaming with Rosemary. The timing of Kelly's departure comes as a number of other contracts in the company are either coming up or have been expired. Jake Something recently left the company to join AEW, where he became the newest member of the Don Callis family. Joe Hendry, who had already been making frequent appearances on NXT, left TNA towards the end of 2025 to sign with WWE. Joining TNA in 2020, Kelly won the TNA Knockouts Tag Team titles twice with Masha Slamovich during her time in the company. So, I mean, there you go. So there's another contract that hasn't been renewed, another freelancer who's out there. I don't know if I would hire Killer Kelly back, but let's say, because this is what we always default to. Tony Khan, AEW. If I were Tony Khan, at the very least, I'd kick the tires on her. At the very least, in Ring of Honor, right? You have her come in, you have her work a little bit, you see how it goes, see how everything meshes. And if she's not to your liking, you just send her home. And if you like her a little bit more, well, then you have her show up a little bit more. So, it's like, sometimes it all depends on the environment, depends on what you're doing, so on and so forth. But we'll have to see how all this goes with her moving forward. But yeah, I don't know. I'd at the very least, I'd just kick the tires on her. Just give her a look. Yeah, I'm definitely not saying, oh, you have to hire her immediately. Not really. Not really. She's been in a tag team for a while, just see how she can hang in a singles environment. And I'm not saying, bring her in, push her, make her a star. We've had this discussion recently. Sometimes you just have to hire people. You need competent bodies in there to do solid mid-card work to get the stars over. And that's an important role to play in a promotion nonetheless. So we'll see where she falls very soon. More contract news. Maki Ito has signed with Stardom. And it's funny here, come on. Stardom announces signing a former AEW TJPW wrestler. Maki Ito, wasn't she? She was in AEW one time. She was like on a one-time appearance thing, right? She showed up once, and that was it. Like, what are we doing here? If anything, substitute AEW by GCW. She is much more identified with Game Changer Wrestling than All Elite Wrestling. What the fuck are we doing here? Oh, she did twice? She did twice? I remember that I distinctly remember the one time she showed up. I remember her the debut, I guess, since she's been there more. Let me pull out Cage Match and maybe my memory will be refreshed. Since chat is telling me, Warren, you're fucking wrong again. That's not what they're saying. That's what they mean. Oh, yeah, look at that. 2021. Oh, shit. Okay. No, she's okay. Okay. Now I remember. She was in the World Championship Eliminator Tournament. I remember this now with the Japanese brackets and whatnot. Okay, all right. Okay. I correct myself. I had forgotten about it. See, that's something I completely stored away deep in my brain somewhere. Well, we don't need this anymore. Thank you for keeping me honest, chat. Yeah, I appreciate it. So, where were we? Oh yeah, okay. Well, let's read the thing. At Stardom's show at Corkin Hall on Saturday, Ito was revealed as the mystery woman behind a series of vignettes that had been airing. Stardom President Taro Okada announced the signing and presented Ito with an official Stardom tracksuit to commemorate her becoming a full-time member of the roster. Okada said on today's show, "Today, Stardom has signed a contract with pro wrestler Maki Ito." Is that what he said? Ito said as well, Maki Ito said this, "After 9 years of professional wrestling, this is the first time I'll be doing it as part of this organization. I will be joining Stardom. Nice to meet you." Ito's debut match with the promotion will take place on tomorrow's show, also at Corkin Hall. She will team with Sari Ano against Aya Sakura and Sayaka Kurara on the show. Then Ito, of course, left New Tokyo Joshi Pro in August 2025 after being with the promotion since 2016. Outside of Japan, Ito made several appearances with AEW from 2021 to 2023, with her last match having been on the June 14, 2023 show in Washington. She also regularly performs for GCW, with her last match for the promotion having been on the November 22nd Dream On pay-per-view from New Jersey. Well, that's definitely a signing. That's definitely someone to add to your roster. Look, apparently it's going over big in Japan. She is selling she already has her t-shirt out. She's selling a good amount of merchandise. Good for her. I'm not a Maki Ito guy. I used to be, because I think that for a while there was something dynamic about her, and her act was very unique. It was very fresh, you know. And I think there was a lot of appeal to it. She's very naturally charismatic and whatnot. Like, it was very, very interesting. But I also think she's very, 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 very overrated. I don't think she's half as good as people say she is. Look, I'll be honest. If Maki Ito ends up in world title programs in Stardom, that's not, I might grit my teeth at that. I'm like, no, we're straying from the vision here. Unless suddenly by joining, if suddenly by joining Stardom, she becomes like this irrepressible goddess, right, of pro wrestling, where she's just like, whoa, you know, and suddenly she's working like Tom Nakano, you know, she's the next Mayu Iwatani out of nowhere, and you're like, okay, but probably not. I think Ito is a what you see is what you get type of situation, and she's going to rely a lot on shtick and whatnot, and I understand that there's an audience for that. And does this mean that, you know, is this something that Stardom sort of wants to circle around a little more towards? Like, I didn't see the Corrigan Hall show. I didn't see her wrestle. Now she's going to wrestle at the next big Stardom show, and I can't remember against who. Someone in the chat will probably tell me, or I can actually just check that out here. I think I have this information right at my fingertips. My fingertips are very long, I guess, because it's taking me a while. No, I do not have that information in my fingertips. So yeah, you know, I don't know. Against Aya Sakura, so that's good. You know, I mean, oh yeah, and there's a stipulation, right? Like if Maki loses to Sakura, she can't call herself the cutest in the world anymore, right? Something like that. I'm like, whatever. I mean, look, I am all for. Here's the thing, she had grown stale in TJPW. She has built a name and a reputation for her. I think it is just the logical next step for her to leave, go try out something else. Look, Stardom wants to sign her. Go ahead and do it. I think that's good for her. I think it's good for the business. Like, there's nothing wrong with it. I'm just like, I don't know. Like, I see the act. It's the same act she's been doing for 9 years. She said, 9 years has been in the business. She's been doing this for 9 years. 9 years in the business, 9 years doing the same act. If she's doing the exact same thing in Stardom, I'm going to get bored really, really quickly. Unless, like I said, suddenly she unlocks, you know, an entirely new move set, and suddenly she's this work rate phenom that she never chose to exhibit before. But if all she does is go around and cry in the ring and, you know, do all that bullshit still, I'm not into it. I'm sorry to say. Maki Ito is extremely overrated by wrestling fans. She's very, 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 very overrated. So again, like, I think both things are true. I'm happy for her, and it's good for the business, and it's good for her that she's able to move around like that. That's one. But Stardom is a promotion I actually watch. You know, it's a promotion I watch. So, you know, I was fine not watching Maki Ito. I never felt the need to chase down Maki Ito matches. I was completely okay with that. Now she's back in my sights, and I guess I'm gonna have to watch her now. I'll keep an open mind. I will keep an open mind. I'm not gonna bury her just because she pops up on TV. But if I'm gonna bury her if she stinks. I mean, she'll never be as bad as the Mickie James match from WrestleCon from the Mark Hitchcock show. She's never going to stink as bad as that. I'd hope. There you go. So that's another bit of contract news there. And then, oh boy, hey. There's a New Japan wrestler that's drawing a lot of interest in the United States. What? There's a new, who could that be? I mean, is it Yoda Tsuji? Could it be Kosei Fujita? Like, are we going out of left field? Who could this wrestler be from New Japan who could be drawing a lot of interest in the United States? Oh, it's Gabe Kidd. Gabe Kidd has options if he is to hit the free agency market soon. Dave Meltzer noted on Wrestling Observer Radio that there is, quote, a lot of interest in the United States, unquote, regarding Kidd. He also mentioned that it's likely Kidd's New Japan deal expires at the end of the month. For those of you who don't know, most New Japan contracts expire at some point in January, at the start of February. Most of them do. So, you know when the scoops start appearing in December, when they start popping up in December, and they start talking about such and such wrestler, contract is coming up and all that. That's because it's the annual thing. Like, there's no real surprise. No one is shocked. Or at least if you follow New Japan Pro Wrestling, nothing is shocking in that regard. The only question is, will New Japan make a bid to hang on to Gabe Kidd? Or will someone else? Anyway, here's the quote. Gabe Kidd is another one that they, WWE, want. I'm sure AEW wants. I'm sure New Japan wants. I've been hearing a lot about them because Gabe Kidd's contract probably is up at the end of the month. I don't know that 100% because most New Japan contracts are. Exactly what I was saying, just confirmed by Dave Meltzer. With Kidd, it's going to be real interesting with him because I think he really loves New Japan, and New Japan made him a star. Yes, but I also think that he's. I think he's also. What's the word I'm looking for? I think he's also a little discouraged with his 2025. I think there's stuff that he expected 2025 to happen in 2025, that didn't. Things didn't materialize like they should have. You can put a lot of blame on a lot of things as to why it didn't happen. WWE is also said to have interest in AEW's powerhouse Hobbs. In this week's Wrestling Observer newsletter, Meltzer wrote that WWE was very high on the Ops member. However, it's not clear when Hobbs' AEW contract expires. Meltzer and Garrett Gonzalez also addressed the situation with Hobbs on Observer Radio. There's more to the Hobbs thing than I wrote, Meltzer said. Responding to a question about when Hobbs' AEW contract expires, Meltzer said, I don't know, but I know that those in WWE really want him. I mean, I know there's a lot of people who are shocked by this, but like, I understand why Dave does these reports, but then, I sort of look at this and I shrug and I go, well, of course. A guy like Hobbs, if you're a wrestling promoter and you see a guy like Hobbs, you're like, hell yeah, of course I am interested in this guy. That I am very high on bringing this guy in. I would love him to work some dates for me. Of course. What are we talking about? Of course, WWE is, in fact, the opposite would shock me. Any wrestling promotion for that fact, for any promotion, I'd be like, any promotion that would say, no, we're not really interested in Willie Hobbs, and I'm like, okay, why? If anything, it's reassuring. WWE should be into this guy. And it's not just a question because of because WWE handles the book big men better, like the chat is pointing out. I don't think that's even the case. I don't even think it's the case that WWE books big men better now. I don't think they've been booking big men well for a while. Otherwise, Omos would be a megastar. Braun Strowman would have been a megastar. I don't think that's the case anymore. Keith Lee would not have floundered fucking around wondering what the hell is going on. I don't think the thing where I think there was a time that it absolutely used to be true, that it 100% used to be true, where you're a big muscular dude, you'd go to WWE and that's the land of the big men, and they knew how to handle you. That, I think, for the longest time, it was absolutely the truth. And I think it was so ingrained in the identity of WWE that we still believe that today. But objectively, when you look at the landscape, you look at the past world champions of the past, let's say, 7 to 8 years, which is when I started observing, it's not necessarily big guys anymore. If you look back, there's no big guys, like big men, like Hobbs guys or Omos guys, or really big, huge dudes. I mean, Roman Reigns is not a small individual, don't get me wrong, but I don't think anyone says, oh, that's a big guy. He's not a big guy pro wrestler. You know what I mean? He's not a bodybuilder. He's not a big guy wrestler. And then when it comes to AEW, Tony Khan doesn't seem to know how to book big men. I think this is like his fatal flaw. He knows how to book. He knows how to book anyone around, 250 and lighter. I think he's completely fine with that. But when it comes to the really big muscular types, or the just, the physically imposing dudes, I don't think he knows how to book them. And he may just not be interested. He just might not be interested. So it's a two-sided thing. Now they're going to do well with Obafemi because, I think Obafemi has that type of charisma, and he has a lot of what's the word I'm looking for? Why am I stuttering so much? More so than usual, I should say. He has a lot of unknowables that make him really interesting, He's a big guy. Intangibles. That was the word I was looking for. Thank you, chat. Hey, Johnny, how you doing? Welcome to the chat. Intangibles was the word I was looking for. I'm completely losing it, I guess. So, it's like it's like I don't know what you do with a guy like Hobbs. Like a Hobbs in 1996 would have been a superstar, unquestionably. But in this era where everyone has become a lot more used to pro wrestlers being, smaller, more wiry, not as jacked, but fit. That's like, now that this has kind of become the standard of pro wrestlers, a guy like Hobbs, doesn't meet like certain immediate criteria. And for me, as a guy who also enjoys a little variety, like different stuff in his pro wrestling presentations, as far as wrestler types and the way they wrestle and whatnot, not only like just one style the whole way. A guy like Hobbs makes me wonder, like, where does he fall? Where does he fall in modern pro wrestling? Because I don't think he's that much of a shoo-in in WWE as people seem to think he is. And if I were Tony Khan, I'd hang on to this guy because I think he's got a bright fucking future in front of him. But I'd figure out what to do with him too. Like, I'd ask around, I'd make some calls, I'd watch some old tapes. Like, okay, how do I book this kid? Instead of just being, hanging around in the ops. So that's interesting. We'll, again, keep an eye on that too. But I mean, Gabe Kidd, I'll tell you, between us all, if Gabe Kidd re-signs with New Japan, I will be the first guy to be surprised. I will be very, very surprised. All right, well, I think we'll wrap it up with this because there's a question that's there's a very crucial question that's going to follow here. AJ Styles returning for TNA Impact's AMC debut. He's been announced that he's going to okay, here we go. The premiere of Thursday Night Impact on AMC will be phenomenal. For the first time since Slammiversary, AJ Styles will make his jaw-dropping return. How is it a jaw-dropping return if he already did a return? Like, why is this more jaw-dropping? I don't understand. His jaw-dropping return to TNA Wrestling as a new era begins live January 15 from the Curtis Culwell Center in Dallas, Texas. What will the Phenomenal One have in store for TNA Wrestling as TNA Wrestling makes history once again? This is scheduled as an appearance. All right. This is like in other wordings that they've used. He is scheduled to appear. So he's not wrestling. He's not being billed as coming in to wrestle. I don't think AJ Styles is going to wrestle in TNA until his career ends. I think this is a guy who sees the end of his career and he's just like, you know what? Let's just do this. Let's just do a few more matches, wrap up my career, have me lose to Gunther, and then I'll go home. I think that's what he wants to do. I think that's what he wants to do. Styles last competed for the promotion in 2013. So, and he's 48. It's like, yeah, he doesn't need to be doing these things. And I always felt like I always felt he didn't have like all that much attachment, to TNA. Because I think once he left and molded himself into what he became in Bullet Club in New Japan. I don't think he's ever decided to look back from that point. Why would you? So, I'm talking about this here because the question that I have, because it has been posited onto me, is do I do a TNA Thursday Night Impact on AMC debut watch along or watch party on Thursday? Should I do it? Should I chuck in, find a way how to make this happen in Canada? Because, I don't have AMC. And to, figure out how to get my hands on TNA Impact. I think it's on Sportsnet 360. I'd assume. No, but I'm legitimately asking, should I do it? Because if the chat wants it, the chat will get it. I am a slave to the chat. And I'll hunker down and we'll watch. We'll all watch our AMC and our TNA Impact together, starting at 9 p.m. Eastern. If Santana loses, we want a live reaction to it. I still maintain, and I want this to be on the record, I still maintain that Santana will win the title off of Frankie, but then Nick Nemeth will activate his Money in the Bank cash-in gimmick and will come and take it away from Mike Santana. Because lol TNA. I think I'll do it. I think I might just go ahead and do it. Do a nice little watch party, and we'll laugh along. We'll laugh. We'll cry. We'll sing. See what kind of surprises they have in store. Yes, I did see that they had Jake something on the AMC promo. I even saw that they had. Killer Kelly. They had a Killer Kelly one too. Just tremendous stuff. That's a left brain, right brain situation right there. That's what that is. I don't know what's worse, a little TNA moment. What's the worst little TNA moment? Nemeth cashing in on Thursday or him doing it at Genesis 2 days later? The debut. The debut is absolutely worse. The debut is worse because that means that the company, the people who are behind TNA, will have believed that what they did right there was a good idea. They will pat each other on the back and go, well done. We swerved them or whatever. That's what I think. There you have it. We didn't go through the entire docket. We still have a few things, but some things we can push back to Thursday. We'll hop in a little early. We'll talk about some stuff, and then bam, we'll log in for some TNA total nonstop action on American movie classics. It's gonna be great. I'm excited for it. They always skip the Mariah May story on the doc. Yeah. Because it's never that interesting. We'll get to it. Who cares? It's fine. If it was important breaking news, we'd get into it. But it's Mariah May and fucking nonsense. Who cares? It's fine. Will she be up on main roster? Yes, she will. There you go. Yeah, I think Thursday would be worse because I didn't think of it. If Nemeth cashes in on Thursday, they'll just do the rematch as a 3-way at the pay-per-view. Exactly. It's just, it's a disaster. It's just a disaster thing. All right. I think we're good. We're done. We're wrapping this up for today, folks. Well, you already know because the music's playing. You already know that we're done because the music is playing, and that's the sign. That's the sign. That's like it's the old award show trick that I do to myself. All I'm missing is someone behind the camera going, "Thank you, everyone, for dropping in on this lovely Monday. Hope you enjoyed yourselves. Hope you had a good time." Mr. Warren Hayes Show, Wednesday. Dynamite Review, Thursday. TNA Watch Party in the evening. The things I wouldn't do for you all. Thank you all very much for being here. Hope you have a great rest of your week. Take it easy. Enjoy yourselves. Have some fun. And yeah, there you go. I'll see you next time. How about that?